Thank you, Todd.
Hello.
Jeez. Time shift. Good grief. Sitting here with the book right now, going over some notes. All right. Let me tell these other folks who texted me. Beth is here. Okay, good. Don't have to
Hello.
respond to you. Todd is here.
Hey,
Hey,
how are you, Todd?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I've had a house full of contractors all day. I did take a shower this morning, but worked from home all day. So please pardon my appearance. I really am your Nashville referral partner. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my appearance is the same, so as long as you'll pardon mine.
Yeah, it's been a day.
All right, I got to fix this because I was chilly before and now I'm warm. So let me fix. Let me
My
get back
husband's
into my-
working multiple offers on a property right now, and it was like I had to get him fed before he had to go back out the door.
Oh my gosh.
They get a
Multiple
little.
offer sounds good.
It is. It's very good. It's a good thing, right?
Hmm.
Todd, where are you out of?
I'm in the beach cities of Los Angeles. So Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, Torrance, Palos Verdes.
Fantastic. We're getting a lot of your folks coming this way.
Yeah, and so you're right, because I've had two clients go that way. Maryville, and then I'm trying to remember where the other went. But yeah, I think that's true. And I'm thinking they might reach out to you before they think about selling here. So that might be something where we can reciprocate too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I don't serve the area where the part of Tennessee where they're moving, I've trained all the agents in Tennessee through Bold and Map. So I know who to send them to. I'll get you connected with the person.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. You're the
That's the man in
connector.
California.
Yeah.
Unless it's Northern California, then I got
Yeah.
another guy. Yeah, right. Then I got somebody else for you. Oh my. So my apologies here, folks. I was doing really, really well with the time shift stuff. And for some reason I had 5 o'clock in my head instead of 4 because now I'm on Pacific time, darn daylight savings thing.
We give you grace today.
And there it is. My calendar has it wrong. I got him. There it is. I didn't move the calendar.
I thought I had missed it, I was like,
No, not at all. No. This is on me. I will own it. Let me just.
We have Samsung with us today.
Samsung is here. Yes. This and following events. All right. Well. All right. Now it's in the right spot. Oh, that gives me a whole lot less time. All right. Ooh-wee.
hey.
All right. So. Oh, God. Everybody just let's hope that Congress or the Senate or the president or whoever signs off on this time shift thing so they could just decide on one, make life so much easier. Just pick one.
We voted on it 4 years ago and they still haven't implemented it in California.
Really? Oh, wow.
We voted for daylight savings throughout the year.
It's frightening. Yeah. I think that's the way it's going to go. Daylight savings started out at 6 months, then it went to 8. Like just, oops, do the other 4.
As someone who lives on the eastern edge of the central time zone, it's dark here at 4 o'clock in the wintertime. And that is brutal. It's just brutal. Yeah.
And as someone who lives in a state that doesn't do either one, I don't care. Just
pick one.
pick one. Yeah.
It's like, just pick one.
Pick one. My
So
day
what
will
time
either
does it
start
get
at
dark
7
in
or 8. I
Arizona?
don't care. I'm sorry, Todd?
What time does it get dark in Arizona then?
Sunset right now is maybe 6:30.
Yeah, so
Even
we're
the
about
winters
the same.
aren't bad. The winters aren't bad here. It's nice.
When we get to summer solstice, we're like 8 o'clock.
Nice.
Yeah, same. Yeah. It's bright outside. So, all right, let's dive in. Enough with the weather report and focus on things that we can control. So tell me about experiences. Are we recording? Yes, we are. Tell me about experiences that you've had in the last week or so with what we've been doing so far with cold reads, with labeling, with etc. Who's had a chance to play with it a little bit?
So I have, and I've been making a few notes about like how would I handle this in all the places where I negotiate. So obviously with a seller and also with my spouse, like I think practice starts at home. And just today I was like, oh my goodness, it sounds like blah blah blah. And getting to know, like getting them to say no, it's been working. So I like it. And I've been listening to the original Never Split the Difference
Hmm.
in the mornings because this one doesn't have an audiobook. I'm so bummed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But I've been listening to Never Split the Difference as well. And I told George, I started watching a series called Waco. It's about the Branch Davidians and how the FBI negotiated with them. And it was fascinating reading Never Split the Difference to watch that movie and see the tactics that did and didn't work. Because Chris Voss talks about how this was how not to do it. And you
Yeah.
could see it happening in the movie. It was fascinating.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So Waco is a good example of what not to do.
Mhm.
Big
Yeah.
time. Yeah. They learned a lot from Waco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Scholl and Chris Voss have had a discussion. I can't remember where, but they had a discussion about that Waco series and how it was the wrong thing to do.
One guy wanted to do the right thing. The other ones, he lost the battle. Yeah.
Right. Right. Have you found that Never Split the Difference gives you big picture, strategic stuff, FBI hostage negotiations, whereas oh god, it's right in front of me. Both the agent sort of brings it down to earth and into reality and say, oh, I can actually implement this now. Does it connect the dots for you the same way it has for me?
It does for me. I like that was my problem in trying to implement was that Never Split the Difference. It was kind of like Miracle Morning versus Miracle Morning for real estate agents. It was like
Yeah, right.
it wasn't. It was you had to figure out how to implement it yourself. Whereas this is the blueprint.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. It's like, it's just the book for real estate. It's just very specific. The examples are concrete and relatable.
Yeah, concrete and relatable. Yeah, it makes it brings it out of theory more into practice. That's what I'm finding. And because it comes into practice, it's easier to implement in other areas, like with your husband.
Oh
You
yeah.
have actual
Totally.
examples. Okay. I'll give you one today. I had a call with a client today who has a very, very difficult phone call that he needs to make. And so we sort of practiced it a little bit. It's like, yeah, you probably don't want to do it that way. How about if and he hasn't read the book. So I said, this is called an accusation audit. What are all the things that the person on the other end might be thinking about you? I'm complaining. I'm whining. I want special attention. I'm just being negative. Good. So how about if you start the call out with those? What? Yeah. Start the call out with, you're probably thinking that this is going to be really negative. You might even be thinking that I'm whining and I'm looking for special attention. You might even be thinking this guy is just a real pain in my butt, and lay it out there. So I haven't gotten the results yet. He's going to be making the call today or tomorrow, and then we'll talk again after that. But I think it just makes so much sense, to set up the bad news.
That's the hardest thing I think of all the tools to do, because you're throwing yourself on the sword.
It feels like, yeah, you're throwing yourself under the bus and backing the bus up a few times. Yeah, yeah.
I did try it today with DirecTV. It worked. My bill, like my credits came off, so I got to the cancellation department, and I'm like, "You're gonna think I'm just one of those greedy customers that's looking for something for free." Oh no, we would never think that. Okay, well, I need my bill reduced,
And
and they gave me a $35 a month credit for a year, and they lined me up for another one. So yeah,
there you go.
That's good to know.
How
Because I
to,
just
how to talk to how to talk to your credit card companies if you're not keeping a zero balance, right there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Perfect. Very, very nice. Yeah. It's again, I think it works because it's the way our brain works. You label it all, you set it up, and then whatever follows, it's less than what they expected it to be.
Mhm.
So, all right. So let's talk about getting the elephants out early. What did you take from this chapter? What did you get?
Be the buffalo, don't hide.
Say more, Todd.
Don't hide from things that could be difficult conversations. You need to have those fierce conversations, but you need to, and people appreciate straight shooters, but you need to do it in a gentle way.
Right. Not brutal, you know? Yeah.
Mhm.
So how do you, if you have something that you think might be perceived as brutally honest, it's like constructive criticism, military intelligence. I feel like George Carlin now, right? So how do you set that up so that you could be honest and a straight shooter, but not coming across like it's a throat punch?
Mm. Well, I think in the old way of thinking, you would say, on a scale of 1 to 10, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how honest do you want me to be with you about the condition of your house? And then they say a 10, which is really a false yes.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. Like, no one's going to say I need you to be a 7 and be nice about it. People aren't going to say that.
Okay. So if that's the old way, what's the new way or the better way? How do you be a straight shooter? How do you be a straight shooter without?
I mean, the book said you tell them, I've got bad news for you, and then tell them you're not going to like what I have to say, and then say whatever it is you're going to say, and be silent and let them think.
Set it up.
Mhm.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed that if you have something difficult to say, a lot of times the imagination that we have of how the person is going to respond is way worse than what actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always.
So if you
Always.
anticipate that you'll be perceived as a straight shooter, and that's been your posture from the beginning, it makes it a lot easier. I like the one of the sentences that I like in the statement I like in here is, here's the truth. It's impossible to speak a problem into existence. If you're mistaken, they'll correct you. So this is the accusation. Call attention to the emotion. It seems like you're nervous. It seems like you're really scared. It seems like you're upset or disappointed. It seems like you're mad at me. It seems like you're really frustrated. Worst thing they're going to say is, no, 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 no. I'm just a little confused. Oh, set it up. Tell them the truth.
Well, and he also talks about you have to let go. The reason we don't want to deliver bad news is because we want people to like us. And I struggle with this so badly. We don't want to give bad news because we don't want them to be mad at us or not like us. It's not truly listening to the other person because we're focusing on us. And so he talks about in here, we have to, life isn't happening to you. It's just happening. You're not in control of what happens, only how you experience it. What if you stop trying to force the outcome you want and just see what happens? That's where trust begins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you think about that too, receiving bad news. How many of you have ever been blindsided by something and basically said to the other person, or at minimum thought the other person, why the hell didn't you tell me this at the beginning? It would have been so much easier to deal with if I knew this X days ago, weeks ago, months ago, whatever it might be. Been there? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. That's when the other person kind of drops a couple notches in your mind, isn't it?
Mhm.
How am I going to trust you now? You blindsided me on this one. What else are you not telling me?
Right.
This is where your Ronald, if you have an inner Ronald Reagan with Khrushchev comes in, with Gorbachev comes in, trust but verify. All right. So better to just get it out. If you have something I've got some news for you. You're probably not going to like it. You're probably going to be really upset. This might be something that whatever, you just set it up that way, lay it out there, and then do what?
Stop
Set up.
talking.
Because
They have to process.
they got to process it. I talked to a buddy of mine. I found 4 VCR tapes from 2 previous lifetimes of mine. One was in vector marketing when I was doing the director of cookware sales. I'm going to upload these things to YouTube if you want to see me 30 some years ago. And then another one I was doing with massage therapy, teaching myotherapy protocol. And I took them to a buddy of mine who does this on the side. He put them on. So I have them all now. I got all these tapes here, which blows my mind. I don't understand it, but there they are. This guy's also a sales trainer. So I had an opportunity to talk to Dave. And I said, just out of curiosity, let me ask you a question about sales. He goes, what do you think? I said, what is the number one problem, the number one mistake that most salespeople make? What do you think?
They don't listen.
Because they are
Talking too much.
talking too much. Exactly right. Exactly right. He goes, and he didn't even hesitate. He goes, oh, that's easy. They talk too much. Just like that. Boom. No, that's easy. They talk too much. So learning to shut up, not because the first one who talks loses, but to shut up so the other person can process. They go internal. They're going to process. Give them the chance. Silence is golden. And in the coaching world, we used to say, let the silence do the heavy lifting.
So George, I actually had that experience this week with that seller that you and I have been talking about. And it became very obvious that it was time for a price reduction. And he and his wife were together. He wears the pants in the family, and he needs everybody to know that, right? So she doesn't really get an opinion looking from the outside in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because I said, here's the facts, here's what the market's doing. And I can't remember how I phrased it. Said, what do you think? Maybe I said, what do you think this is saying? What do you think the buyers are saying about your price? What do you think this means that the buyers are saying about your price?
Mm-hmm.
And then I sat there and I thought, Beth, you just have to be quiet. I literally counted to 10, and the silence was so awkward. And all of a sudden he looked at his wife and he looked at me and he goes, well, it sure is quiet in here. And it was then that I knew that he got it. But stopping and just letting them process is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been thinking about it and agonizing over it. This is the first they're hearing of it.
Right. I'll let you in on this is me. All right. Personal experience. Learning to be quiet after a question initially is really, really difficult. It is because salespeople like to talk. When nobody likes silence, we want to fill the gap. After you get the hang of it, it actually becomes quite fun. Because in my head, I'm going, oh, here's a question that's going to stump them for a while. And I'm just sitting there waiting. It's actually fun when you get to that point.
I think the part that becomes difficult is keeping kind of a curiosity gaze as opposed to a stalker gaze when you're waiting for them to respond when you're in that silence.
Yeah.
Because you
What do you think that
want
says about their price?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's physical posture at that point is good too. Just cross your hands, put them in front, do something where your hands are going to be comfortable, comfortable, not steep. What do you think that says about their price? You don't want to steeple, because that's intimidating. This is a power play. Just relax. Let your hands be crossed in front of you, or just so you're not fidgeting around. Just get yourself comfortable and sit there and wait. It's not going to go more than 10 or 15 seconds.
It just feels like forever.
Feels like forever. Yeah. So what was the end result of that, Beth? What happened?
We got a price reduction and we got a bunch of showings, and then it went under contract.
Yay.
There you go.
And there you go.
How much
Funny
of a price
how that
reduction
works.
was required?
That price reduction from 745 to 25,000. Yeah.
It's not that bad, actually. On a 745. Yeah.
Actually, well, the first agent had it at 795.
790. Yeah, I remember.
I got it at 775. Then we dropped it to seven. Yeah.
Because it was way
he would
overpriced
not,
when you
he
got
would
it.
not do a big price reduction on it.
Right. No, he
But
did.
yeah, he finally did. Yeah. So,
Good.
but it worked. And I remember thinking, this is where you just have to stop and not talk and just be quiet. And it
Mhm.
worked.
And your success on this one will make being quiet on the next one easier.
Mhm.
Yep. That's how it works. That's how it works. Okay. Very, very good. Congratulations. And you got a lot of showings and you got them under contract. That's so cool. The other thing you did, which was really, really right, and I know you and I talked about this, is you said, what do you think the market is telling us about the price? It hones them in on the price, not what do you think this market telling us about the house, not what do you think is happening about my ability, not what what is the market telling us about the price,
About your price.
about your price. Yeah, about your price.
Yeah.
And that fine tunes it in on the market and the pricing. Something's off, something's out of kilter. Yeah. Well,
I like to
well-worded
use
question.
in that setting, I like to use through no fault of yours or mine. What do you think the market is telling us about your price?
Oh, I love that.
That's right, Todd. That's Todd's favorite line. Yep. Through no fault of yours or mine. What do you think the market is telling us about your price?
I'm writing that down. Because that softens it a little bit. Not,
Mhm.
yeah.
And it doesn't allow them to think about pointing a finger at you.
Right, right. And then let them noodle on it. All right. Page 91, the 2 millimeter. I love these 2 millimeter shifts. Isn't it really subtle? This stuff, the little beep, little shift. The reasons someone might not want to do business with you are more important than the reasons they do. Talk about a reverse in thinking, because we're so conditioned to sell value, sell value, sell value. The reasons why they might not want to do business are more important than the reasons they do. What's that mean to y'all? There you go. I said y'all for you, Beth, since you're down there in Tennessee. Or since it's plural, I guess it would be all y'all. Would that be correct? What would that mean to all y'all? I don't
It's a long story. We know how to conjugate y'all in the South.
know. I cannot. I'm from Philly. I can't. I'm faking it. What
Yeah.
does it mean to use? There you go. Right? Reasons someone might not want to do business with you are more important than the reasons they do. What you get out of that?
If they don't want to do business with you, it doesn't matter what all the positives are, they're not going to do business with you.
If there's too many reasons why they don't want to be business, you're the favorite or the fool.
The
Well,
fool.
Cool. And the more quickly you find that out,
Faster you move on.
Mhm.
I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of there's nothing wrong with losing business. It's just a lot wrong with taking a long time to lose business, essentially was the thought, right?
Mhm.
and they're probably showing themselves to be halves, hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. So it's not somebody you want to do business with either, because it's not going to result in a nice transaction or repeat and referral.
How many of you have turned a client away? Your decision to not work with them? A little scary at first?
Not really.
Good.
I mean, I wanted the listing because it was in my farm, but it was a divorce and it was a hot mess. And the lady's mother was a realtor and she wanted a referral fee and they wanted to pay 4%. I was like, no, thank you. No, thanks.
It would have been a hot mess of a deal, wouldn't it?
Oh, it was a hot mess of a deal. Like yeah, it was a hot mess. Had a judge have to get it under contract. It was nasty. And I was like, no, thank you.
When you've turned clients away, what has that done for you defining your boundaries and your standards?
Are you asking me? I mean,
I'm asking all y'all.
I think it just helps you define what you want your life to look like, because with the type of client that you would turn away, or that I would say customer at that point, because they wouldn't be a client, Like, do I want to invite that stress and drama into my life and into my family's life? No.
Mm,
Yeah. And the more clearly you are defined on your standards, the easier it is to maintain them.
mhm.
Right. Okay. Cool. And I think that's the positive thing. If you have to turn, I like that too, Todd, turn a customer away because they're not a client. If you have to turn a person away, you're clearly defining your boundaries, your standards. Now, here's the deal though. If this is happening on a regular basis, we probably need to have a conversation. Oh, I had 4 listing appointments this week. I turned 3 of them down. Let's look at that. That doesn't happen with any of you, but just, keep in mind, just watch if there's patterns, right? Maybe we're attracting the wrong people. There's just, just a heads up on that. Once in a while though, it's always good. I did that in my massage practice. I turned clients away, because they wanted me to fix their body after they were out there abusing it for 3 weeks in a row. No, not going to do that. I'll throw a little line of a concept in just because it popped into you guys know me well enough. If something throws into my head, I toss it out for you. I used to use a thing in my practice, both in my massage practice and my NLP practice, that I would tell clients, and it was my posture. My posture was, I am too competitive to be your next failure.
Mm,
That's kind of a cool posture to take. I'm too competitive to be your next failure. So we're going to do it, and we're going to do it as a team. Yep. So for what it's worth. So Laura hit the perfect words a couple minutes ago on delivering bad news. Sometimes it's setting them up, and sometimes it's as simple as, I have some bad news. And this is where, have you had an opportunity to practice the late night FM DJ voice? I have some bad news versus I have some bad news. Soft, downstroke. The delivery here is where it really matters. And then state it as fact, not opinion.
I especially think about the delivery of that in the context of requests for repairs.
Ooh.
It's easiest, whether it's you're going to your seller with the buyer's request or you're getting the seller's response and going back to your buyer. That's where I think about this. I have bad news comes into play most.
Okay. Like, can you do an example from recent memory or make one up?
Yeah, I have some bad news.
Yeah.
You're definitely not going to like this. It's not what you were anticipating. You're going to think that they're being greedy. You're going to think I'm not protecting you. Nobody's stopping me. I have to go further on my accusation on
Oh,
it.
no, we don't think that at all.
Yeah. But that's
No,
that's
Todd,
perfect. We're all
you're
like,
fine.
what? How bad can it, right? Because the natural anticipation is, well, how bad can it be? They're expecting this and you deliver this.
Yeah.
But if they're expecting this and you deliver that, you got a problem.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing. It's the anticipation that it builds in the other person's mind. Their story that they create is going to be so much worse. And probably you've heard, oh, is that all? Oh, okay. Geez, I thought it was going to be a lot worse than that.
So the
Yeah.
one I was thinking about, so I'll just finish it. So they came back and they've asked for a $25,000 credit. And they want, in that, they want a new air conditioning system. They want a new flue for the fireplace. This is a buyer. We didn't get into contract right away. They wrote for 90,000 above your asking price. If we don't come back with something reasonable and try to make this work, we're going to have to go back with our list price before, and the likelihood that we're going to get a buyer up to this amount is probably not great. So what would you like to do?
How would you like to proceed? Right. Perfect. Perfect. And when it's delivered like that, and it's just a matter of fact, and I think the challenge sometimes is taking our emotion out of it,
Yes. Yep.
and just, you didn't cause the problem, you're just reporting it.
Well, and I like Todd's line, through no fault of yours or mine.
Mm,
That's a great
That's
line.
magic. Yeah.
That is.
Was that yours, Todd, or was that one of
I got
Voss's?
it from there's a Home Light YouTube channel, and
Mhm.
it was talking about the listing appointment and setting up for price reductions in the listing appointment. And then they won't be hearing it for the first time when it's time for a price reduction. And so they talk about there's, through no fault of yours or mine, the market is showing us or has shown, and then price is a snapshot in time. So we thought this is what the price is, but the market has told us they're not seeing the value to our price. So what would you like to do?
Nice. Very, very good.
Mhm.
I gave you an opportunity there to take credit for it as your own, but you're a
Yeah.
mensch, so you credited the source because you're a class kind of guy.
I heard it from Todd. That's my story. I'm sticking.
That works. All right. This is summed up, I think, on page 97. Again, 2 mm shift, solving problems, diffusing negative emotions. When problems come up, your instinct is to solve them, but that's not what your clients need. Instead, use an accusations audit to diffuse their negative emotions so they can make an informed decision about how to proceed. Okay. How
When I
does
saw the
that?
title to this,
Go ahead. No,
when
go
I
ahead.
saw the title to this chapter, I thought it was going to be covering, I'm a full fee agent. Like, this may be a non-starter for you. This may be a reason you don't want to do business with me. I'm a full fee agent. I charge 6%. I keep 3.5% and give 2.5% to the other side. That's what I thought we were going to cover in this chapter with that title.
Yeah, I did too, because and then what I love about this book is everything stacks up, because that statement, that whole paragraph is just the summary of all of it.
What page is that on?
That's like 140 something, 140.
No, I mean, what?
For some reason, 147 is in my brain. That'd be scary if that's it. Full service agent. Yeah, chapter 8, it's 147. Wow, that's scary.
Got it.
Right.
Okay, Rain Man.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here playing with a paper clip too. That's really off. All right, you frighten me sometimes, Todd. You really do. When you think about this idea of answering the instinct is to solve the problem. Think handling objection versus addressing the emotion. How does this tie in with traditional sales training about handling objections? Customer says ABC, you say XYZ, versus addressing the emotion. This is a big shift in tactical sales technique. Major shift. What's your thoughts around that?
I mean, I think it's a major shift because the objection handling that we've been taught is trying to box them in. It's trying to trap them into doing what we would like them to do, and that doesn't make them feel like we're on their side of the street.
Yep.
To me, it's easier. It's what I kind of naturally do. I've never been a fan of like trying to box people in and manipulate them into doing what I want them to do. I've always preferred to give them options and just kind of politely steer them in the way that I want them to go.
Yeah, we got most of that, Laura. It's a little choppy because you're in the bus, but we got most of it. Yeah, it is. It's easier, and it's not. It. I don't know. I got to go old school. Can we agree? It's less salesy.
Mhm. You don't feel like you're trapping them.
Yeah.
It's like I heard the word on a cop show or something, a law show, of the word triangulate. Like in old sales techniques, you're triangulating people so that they have no choice but to say yes.
Yes.
I don't remember if it's in here or if it's in Never Split the Difference, but he talks about the 3 kinds of yeses.
Mhm.
And one of those is a false yes, because
Mhm.
people feel like they have no choice but to say yes. They don't really mean it. They just do it to be polite and
Right.
to, and to be nice. They don't really mean it.
Exactly.
And no wonder we say buyers are liars.
Yeah.
You know?
Because we position them so they will.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's the other part of it, Beth. It, even in traditional sales training, we train that the objection that they give you is usually not the root objection anyway. You got to dig down the layers. So instead of answering it, waiting for the next one, handling it, and waiting for the next one, handling it, why not just address the emotion at the front end? Seems like you're really nervous about, but seems like you're really upset. Seems like you're scared. Seems like you're confused. It sounds like you look like whatever, and just labeling it. Get to the emotion. Because here we handle objections with logic, but then we come in on the back end and we say, logic makes them think and
Emotion makes them act.
emotion makes them act. So why don't we just address the emotion and sound different from every other salesperson that they talk to, every other agent they talk to?
Yeah, because when you use old school sales, it's about you and getting them to do what you want. With this type of technique, it's more about understanding where they're coming from, walking alongside them, and giving them the facts so that they can make a good decision.
Mhm. And we can still use some of the stuff that we've learned at KW, keyword backtracking and all those other things. They still works. But when you're here and you got that person and you're both looking at the thing the same way, so much easier. So
Yeah.
much easier. Yeah.
And I like the way they presented, like empathy is not agreement. And I go back to I tell the agents in my office all the time, like, do not forget you are not the decision maker. So we advise, we consult, then we shut up, we let them make a decision. So I think that by using the tactical empathy, it really keeps it top of mind that they're the decision maker. If they're off base, we can hopefully guide them to discover that they're off base, but they're still going to make the decision, and whatever decision they're going to make, we're going to 100% support.
We're going to support them. Right.
Mhm.
Right. Exactly. And when you're on that side of the street, looking at it the way they look at it, you have a better understanding of how they came to that decision. And when you understand how they came to that decision, what was their process, what was their strategy, you have much better insight on how to move that further down the line in the relationship because you understand them and they feel understood.
Yeah.
And the best indicator of future decisions is past decisions. So once you see that, how they reach that decision, you'll know how they probably are going to make decisions later on.
That's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
This is not a game for somebody who's not on the ball. You with me on that? You got to be on the ball to do things this way because it's not memorized rote responses to client says ABC, you say XYZ. Anybody can memorize script responses. This takes more thinking.
Takes more emotional intelligence.
Takes more emotional intelligence.
Right? Emotional intelligence on steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a skill to develop.
Oh, you can use it everywhere.
Uh-huh.
I mean, everywhere. It sounds like you've given up on blank.
How fun would it be to just have a beer with Chris Voss? I mean, really.
Yeah.
I wonder what that conversation would be like. All right. Since we do, however, like guidelines, if you look at and all through this book, I flipped it open to page 98 here. I wouldn't think, say, do feel that you're being too hard on yourself. I can't be that bad. All these things that the pushbacks, you're going to be crushed, furious. You'll probably feel I let you down. You'll probably wonder how this could happen when the market is hot. You're going to think I was out of touch with the market. There's language in there that you can lift and you can steal. If you like some of the words that are in there, use them. I mean, a couple of my favorite ones. Would you be opposed to? Would it be unreasonable if? Are you totally against such and such? I'm finding myself using these more and more,
Mhm.
and then just pick a few that resonate with you, start using them
They're
until
your
they become
go-tos.
natural. Pardon me?
They're your go-tos.
They're the go-tos. Yeah, they're the go-tos. And then
They recommend doing that anyway.
absolutely anything new that you're going to learn, don't try to get the whole package. Take a couple steps, master them, get them to the point where you're comfortable, then add a few more, then add a few more. Right? We're all in this for a career. If it takes you 6 months to get this down, who cares? In 2024, you're going to kick butt. Who cares? All right. So
Pick one a week and just pick one and
pick one
build
and
on
get it. Yeah.
Pick one and
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Just don't, you're not going to get it all at once. Pick one, make them natural. Okay. The other part that they talk about too is doing this internally. When you label your own emotion, I'm feeling fearful, I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling a little mad. When you label your own emotion, the amygdala responds by lowering the emotion. And this is NLP 101. So, and the science and the psychology and the brain science backs that up. So, along with labeling it for your client, when you get into it, label it for yourself. See what happens.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. Good self-management tool. And then they talk about silence is your friend, which we talked about. Okay. So the key takeaways, bracing for bad news. I wonder, since I'm not an agent, if there's any such thing as a real estate deal that goes 100% smoothly with absolutely no snags from beginning to end. Ever.
There are.
There are?
Occasionally, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't
They're-
expect that answer.
They're
Many of them.
unicorns, but they happen.
They happen once in a while. They're the unicorn, Todd? Is that what you said? Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So the majority of times there's going to be some sort of a snag,
A hitch.
a hitch. Okay. We practice this on the little hitches. When the big ones come along, then you're going to be better at it.
And if you preview them, especially in the interview process, that things will not necessarily be smooth. That's where they're gonna start building. You're gonna build that rapport and that connection where they're gonna trust you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How would you do that in the interview process briefly?
Seems like you appreciate someone who's a straight shooter. Seems like you'd want to know all of the obstacles that may stand in our way of your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be opposed to me sharing some of the things that we might
There it is.
encounter along the
Yeah.
way?
Good, good. Yeah, I was waiting for the no question. There it is. Yeah. Would you have any objection to me briefing you on what could happen? Are you opposed to me mentioning some of the problems that might come up so we're better prepared? Right? And that's setting you up as a straight shooter from the very, very beginning. Which is so different from so many other people, because most people just want to sugarcoat and hope they never notice. And I don't know about real estate sales in the great detail that you guys do, but my guess is that if there's a problem that you do not address, it just gets worse and worse by the time it gets to closing.
It's the same thing with the emotion. If you don't address it, it's like an infection.
It builds
Yeah.
and builds and builds, and then people wind up exploding. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes we try not to deal with it because we hide behind a text message. We don't pick up the phone. You know, I can think of an instance this week where my sellers are waiting on their inspection. The inspection was done yesterday, but we haven't heard anything from the agent. So how do my sellers feel? They feel anxious. My client's already told me her anxiety's been through the roof.
Mhm.
These are meticulous people who've taken great care of their house. So when they have to call me, and she just texted me and I said, hey, I promise I'm going to call you when I get off the Zoom call. But for them to have to come to me, I need to be proactive and head that off and go, at this point,
Right.
you guys, maybe it seems like you might be feeling nervous. you know, and how do you reassure them that this is totally normal, right? This is the process that we go by.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, Todd, how would you handle that? What is that? What would that conversation sound like?
Good conversation you're going to have when you hang up from this.
Yeah.
It's I'm glad you texted. It seems like you might be nervous about what we're about to see. It seems like you think this might be out of the ordinary. And then based on what they
you're probably
say.
wondering about what the report is going to show. You might even have more anxiety than I can even imagine.
Yeah.
And here's why. This is the normal process. Let me give you an example of how it usually happens, and then just reassure them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we all know that you've taken meticulous care of this home. So we're not expecting anything out of the ordinary, but we'll see.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll handle it from there.
Remember that the one of the keys to this whole thing is the other your prospects, client, whoever you're talking to. The key is that they want to feel understood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what keeps the trust with you. Let them know that you understand, and that's where the accusation audits come in on the front end. You know,
Yeah.
just a read on how they're probably feeling.
Or even just the labeling and then paraphrasing
Yeah, I guess it's more labeling, as it's not
to
accusation.
get to the
Yeah,
that
I had the wrong word.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the wrong word. Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
labeling. Yeah. Okay, good. Cool. All
That
right.
looks like a man with multiple offers in his hand.
Well done. All right. On that note, well done, Ted. Well done, Todd. On that note, let's call it again. I apologize for starting late. I promise next week I'll actually be on time because I moved it in my calendar. So if anything comes up between now and then, if you have some other experiences with this, please let me know. We'll post them up. Or if you have some cool stories, put them on the Facebook page. Okay.
All right.
So
Thanks,
people get the hang of it. Good luck today, Beth. All right. Talk to you
Thanks.
guys later. Thanks
Bye,
again.
guys.
See you guys.